a lot here recently. I've been receiving compliments on my appearance. I guess specifically probably my face, and the fact that I appear to be young, younger than I actually am. I'm in my late 30s, and people, whenever they guess my age, they just assume that I'm in my 20s, that I've been hearing 25 a lot, and I'm just, flattered. And, I really appreciate the compliments, and I'm very great. I'm very gracious when I hear things like that, because it makes me know that the lifestyle that I'm living and the things that I'm doing to stay healthy and things are actually working. And what I want people to realize is that anybody could do this. It's not just happenstance that I look this way, whatever this way is. And I know that I look healthy. I know that I look younger than other people that are my age, a lot of other people that are my age in their late 30s. And I'm very thankful and humble about that. Like I'm happy about that. But at the same time, I know that, this is not just something that I purchased at the store and something that happened for me overnight. A lot of this has been work and time that I have put into myself in order to keep myself healthy and strong and young. Okay. And I feel like, actually, I know that there are several different variety of, things that go into this. It's not just one thing. It's a program of different things that I practice in my life on a daily basis that make up a lifestyle of healthy living that result in being able to preserve yourself, being able to make yourself appear younger, being able to have the body and the skin and the appearance that you want. And so, like I said, anybody can do this. It's just a matter of making certain decisions in your life and having the discipline and the consistency with all of these things. Okay. And remembering that it's not just one thing. Okay. So I'm going to cover basically all of the things that I know that I'm doing, and talk about each one of them. So number one is exercise. And let me go ahead and say that these are not going to be in any particular order, but we'll just go ahead and touch on exercise first, because I feel like that's, one of those, it's one of the practices that I guess requires a lot of discipline, because you actually have to move and get up and plan and execute, working out, different exercises, different workout plans, whatever your goals are, whatever your physique goals are, it requires specific workout plans and programs. And, so carving out a time, in your life, because this is a lifestyle, and you're not just gonna, get away with working out once every month, or, this is a daily, this is a weekly plan that you need to have set each week, that that, okay, hey, I'm working out each day this week, or I'm working out on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or I'm working out 2 days this week because the other days I'm just completely slammed and I don't have time. So it's a matter of carving out time and having exercise as a priority in your life. It's not an option. Okay, so you're gonna have to move your body and make sure that you are burning calories and that you're building muscle, whatever your goals are. Once again, you need to be building muscle and burning fat, actually. So, figuring out what exercise means to you and incorporating that however you can do that. Okay. If you're crazy energetic and you want to work out 5 to 6 days a week, go for it. Don't burn yourself out. So you have to know your body, and you have to listen to your body, and plan out your exercise schedule around also how your body's talking to you. So for me, what I know that's worked, and we'll just dive into that a little bit about when it comes to just specifically exercise. I like to lift weights. I used to be into yoga and things like that, but I don't really do much yoga anymore. I do make sure that I get my stretches, because when it comes to lifting weights, you do want to make sure that you stretch appropriately as your muscles are growing and as you are working them out, because you're going to have a lot of soreness and things like that. So what I know that it has worked for me here within the past year, over this past year, maybe 2 years now, I have limited my leg workouts now to, or just my weight training workouts. Specifically when it comes to legs, I have limited that now to maybe 2 days a week now, because I have come to realize personally, for me, when it comes to lifting weights and it's my lower body days, that I can't work out my legs every other day. I need 2 days in between leg workouts. So therefore, I know that I'm lifting, like let's say I'm going to do legs on Monday. I know automatically that I'm going to turn around and do legs again on Thursday. So those next 2 days in between, one of them is an off day, maybe, and then one of them is a cardio day. And cardio is a separate topic, but I have already made this set in stone and figured out my body over time, to where I know that I'm going to have at least 2 leg workouts a week. And then that probably is going to leave 1 or 2 other days in there for cardio, and then the other one off day, or 2 days if I decide to go all week. Let's say I'm going to have 2 upper body days, or 2 ab and upper body days. So figure out what you want your physique to be. Figure out what your goals are at weight loss or weight gain or whatever that may be, and find the right programs for you and start doing them consistently. So next thing I want to talk about is skincare. When I was younger, when I was actually in my 20s, I took my youth and my beauty for granted, and I didn't really care too much about, following a skincare regimen. But now that I'm, a little bit older, as I said, I'm in my late 30s. A couple years ago, I started to realize, like, okay, you're getting older, and you're actually getting some, fine lines around your face, around, your smile lines, and some, crow's feet and whatnot. So I finally came to terms with that and said, you know what, it's time for me to start figuring out, what's my skincare regimen going to look like? What does that even mean for me? What does that even mean? Because I used to just, people used to say, oh, you have such good skin, and you have a really good complexion. When I was younger, I used to get like, oh, you have such a beautiful complexion, like you're so photogenic, and on and on. And like I said, I just took that for granted, and I just figured my skin was always going to be perfect for some crazy reason. I just didn't think time was going to affect me. But when I realized that I needed a skincare regimen, I took the time to research that and figure out, as a person in my late 30s, what is something that I need, what is my skincare routine going to be, So I figured out that I needed to start using some kind of retinol, right? So what I do is now, mostly every day, in the evenings, I will apply a light retinol cream after I've washed my face and moisturized my face. And also most of the time I will use a serum after I've washed my face. I will apply a serum first. I will link down in the description what serum I use. Because right now I forgot the name of it. I think it's like Argireline or something like that. Something, you know, it's nothing crazy. No like specific brands or anything at the moment. I'm not saying that I'm not interested in using any specific brands, because there are some brands that I would like to try out here in the near future. But I've been using an Argireline serum. That's supposed to be really good with fine lines and you know, improving your skin tone and texture. And then after the skin serum, I'll apply an over-the-counter retinol. It's a very light cream, kind of like Vaseline, and just a thin layer over my face each night. And sometimes I can take a day off if I feel like my skin is getting a little bit itchy feeling. Then I know I'm using it too much, and then I'll just like dial back, because with retinol you kind of have to increase your dosage as you go. You could say, you know, you can't just start off with a really high dose of retinol at the start. It takes time, and so you need to experiment with the cream that you use in particular. So with this cream that I have, and it's called A313, and this is, like I said, over the counter, which is really convenient, because with other retinols that are, you know, a really good quality retinols, you'll need a prescription from a dermatologist, which I would recommend actually, you know, seeing a dermatologist maybe if you're really serious about getting into your skincare at this point, because you do need to take care of your skin, you do need to take care of your appearance, and it's not just going to maintain itself. Okay, so, you know, making sure that, you know, you have a regimen, a program for your skin, you know, washing it, using a serum, moisturizing, and a retinol when it's necessary, when you feel like it's necessary. And I tell you what, it works wonders. I saw amazing results within a couple of weeks of starting the A313 cream, and I've just stuck with it now for, you know, about a year and a half now, and I'm going to keep using it. And there's another retinol cream that I was prescribed at a dermatologist last year, and I kind of use that. Maybe I don't use that very often because it's really strong, and but I'll also link that in the description. But my point is that, you know, maybe you need to add a retinol cream to your skincare regimen. You know, think about it, and, you know, because our appearance is important, and we want to make sure that we're presenting our best self each and every day. You know, let's be the best people that we can be. Let's try to be better than we were yesterday, and sometimes that requires you to take it up a notch in your skincare. Next, I want to talk about fasting and dieting. So obviously, with exercise, you're going to need to be eating properly. Okay, don't throw away all your efforts in, you know, making sure that you're going to the gym and working out every day by turning around and eating a crappy diet. Okay, so figure out what that means for you. For me, I know personally that means, like, okay, you can't be eating all the carbs that you were eating before. You need to stop eating the pizza, a lot of the pasta. You need to stop eating pasta and pizza pretty much altogether. Anything that's carbs, you know, take a second look and think about that, and, you know, try to limit carbs in general. Okay, you need to be eating a lot of fruits, vegetables, proteins, you know, things that will nourish you and fuel you, but not weigh you down. Okay, so pastas and carbs, and you can have rice. I think, like, rice is okay, but, you know, watch your portions and don't overeat. Stop overeating. There's no need that we need to eat, you know, sometimes past satiety. You know, you know, figure out your portions and stick to that. And I mentioned fasting. So fasting is something here lately that I've been delving into a lot, just the concept of fasting in general, and also trying to practice it myself. I haven't gotten up to the length of time of fasting that I really, want to. And I want to see myself, going on some longer fasts here, to try and experiment with the different benefits that come along with that, because there are so many benefits that you can get, from fasting, spiritually and physically. And what I'm seeking are spiritual benefits, but obviously, you will receive physical benefits. Okay, so intermittent fasting, when you go ahead and start to implement that into your life, you will see, amazing benefits from just taking 12 hours off from eating, giving your body a rest, giving your stomach a rest and time to repair itself, and time for your body to actually digest all of the food that's still in it. Okay, because just because it's a new day doesn't mean that old food has been digested. A lot of the times, for a lot of people, especially with our society today, and as much obesity that we have in our society, people are walking around with food that they've eaten that's not digested, that's been there for years. Okay, I know that sounds crazy, but accept the fact that, yeah, you have food inside of your colon and inside of your body that hasn't been digested properly because you keep on adding food in every single day when you don't need that actual food. You already have energy, technically, stored up in your body, as mass and as fat. And every time you eat something new, now your body has to switch gears and go ahead and digest that. And it's continually working and trying to digest the things that you're eating, and it can't digest quick enough. So it's going to go ahead and get stored somewhere in your colon or as fat. So learning what fasting is, learning how to fast, learning how to do intermittent fasting, allowing your body to take a break and really repair itself, and allowing the food to digest that's already been in there, allowing that to kind of clean itself out, learning how to do a cleanse, learning how to restrain yourself from eating, okay, for some set periods of time, and really implementing that and seeing what the benefits are. And I think once you've done some intermittent fasting for a time, kind of going a little bit deeper and figuring out what a longer fast looks like, learning about fasting. And I'll be talking about that in future videos as well, because fasting is so amazing. We don't get taught that. We don't get taught fasting. I'm teaching my children about it, okay, because they need to know about that as spiritual little girls that I'm raising them to be. Because like I said, what I'm seeking, ultimately will be the spiritual benefits behind fasting. So I am raising my little girls to be aware of fasting and teaching them that they are fasting after dinner and until the next day, and what fasting means. And I think that the typical lesson and what we're taught is you need to have 3 square meals per day, and don't miss those meals, or there's going to be an emergency, or you're going to somehow starve. And that's absolutely not true. So take a honest look at what you are consuming, how often you are consuming that, and how can you make better and healthier choices. Next, I will talk about sleep and rest. Okay, so getting your sleep at night, making sure that you're sleeping at least 7 to 8 hours a night. For me personally, I know that it was a little bit hard to kind of get my sleep together when you have kids, because you know how kids are. For those of you that are parents, your sleep is going to be unpredictable for the first couple of years with a young child. But once you get into the swing of things, I think what works for me is, getting done what I need to get done during the day, and just, wrapping that up during the day. Not every day is going to be perfect, and you're going to have some late nights, obviously. But go to sleep and your kids go to sleep. If you can train yourself to go to sleep and wind down when your kids are going to sleep and winding down, then you will get the same rest that they're getting, because they're going to get their sleep. One way or another, kids are going to get their sleep, and guess what? They're going to wake up completely. They're going to wake up completely energized and rested, and they're going to be wanting to go full force, and you're going to have to keep up. And there's not going to be any. You're not going to be able to make any excuses because they don't care about that. They don't want to hear that. They want to go and they want to play and they want to get things done, and you have to have energy for that. So, for me, I know that when my kids go to sleep, that's my time to go to sleep, period. And if I don't do that, I'm just going to be out of luck the next day. I'm going to have to make up for that sleep the next day. So get your rest. Meditation will fall underneath rest. Okay. So taking time to just find a quiet time, finding a discipline, because that's another discipline. It's like working out. You're going to have to discipline yourself and find time. Hopefully, you have some time every day. You should find maybe between 30 minutes, and you can start off 10-15 minutes if you are not already into this and you're new to this. But you need to find between as little as 5 minutes to an hour every day, or more if you have time, to shut off your mind. Find time to meditate, find time to just be with yourself and your own mind. And what I learned over my unique experience is meditation for me means to completely shut off your mind. You're going to have thoughts arise and continue to pop up as you're trying to shut your mind off. Now, the goal is to just release those thoughts and to quiet the mind, okay? When thoughts come up, put the thought away and just start over. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to take a quick break, but I'm back and I want to finish speaking about meditation, and then we'll swing back over to diet and fasting for something that I forgot to mention, and then we'll get to my last tip, or my last practice, I guess you could say, that I do that helps me to stay young. So, meditation. I mentioned earlier on in the video that I used to be into yoga and, everything yoga and everything like Eastern practices and stuff like that. And I love yoga. Yoga is amazing. But like I said, I'm more of a weightlifting type of person, and I enjoy lifting weights. I enjoy being in the gym, and that is my preferred method of exercise. So, but anyways, I learned meditation as I was learning yoga. I went through yoga teacher training, and I was introduced to Vipassana meditation in the yoga teacher training. And what Vipassana meditation is the way that you meditate is simply clearing the mind. Obviously you're going to have thoughts. Like if you try to sit here and meditate right now, with your eyes closed, like let's say you're a beginner, you've never done this before. You sit down and close your eyes and try to meditate. You're going to have thoughts constantly coming up, to mind, coming up to the surface, essentially. And what Vipassana meditation instructs you to do is to notice those thoughts, but to stop them from happening. And it's a mental exercise that you exercise, and can sharpen over time. If you're able to, see the thoughts come and then let them go instead of ruminating on them and, thinking about them. And then that thought leads to another thought that's connected to that thought. And then that leads you down a rabbit hole of like the next thought. Like that's what you are being instructed to not do. So once the thought comes, you just release it and say, no, I'm not gonna have that thought. I'm not gonna think any things. I'm not gonna think any thoughts. I'm gonna let my thoughts pass, through my mind like clouds do. Oh, I see a thought. It's just a thought and it's going away, back to silence, back to nothing, you know, and another thought will pop up. You know, that's just how our minds are wired. That's how our minds think, and that's how our minds have been so bombarded with like everything in our modern day society. We're constantly thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking. So it's really hard to shut the mind off. You're going to have thoughts just come up. You have to. It's about also being patient with yourself. So as the thoughts are coming up, notice that thought, let it go. Let the thought go and just silence your mind back again. And Vipassana is also about focusing on how your body is feeling and all the sensations that you are experiencing in the present moment. It's all about being in the present moment. Okay. And it's so strict, so far as to like you're not even allowed to like scratch or move like when you're at that Vipassana meditation. It's a 10-day meditation retreat, and it is not easy. It's very, very cool. It's really interesting. I would definitely recommend that anyone go and try that. You know, if you have 10 days, you actually need 12 days, but if you have, 10 days, and there's a Vipassana meditation retreat center near you, definitely sign up and try it. Learn how to meditate through practicing Vipassana meditation. Now, and I can speak about that on other videos, or if anybody has questions about it, just comment down below or email me. It's a great practice. I love Vipassana. Now, listening to other YouTubers and just learning about how people do other things differently and everything, there's so many different ways that you can meditate. So the last advice that I heard about meditation was using it as a visualization tool. So I love that. You're still quieting down the mind. You're giving yourself time to rest. You're giving your mind time to rest, and you're sitting down with your eyes closed in a quiet room, visualizing your life's goals, your mission, working things through in your mind, putting together solving problems in your mind that you can't really solve throughout your day, throughout your work day, because your mind is focused on, other things. So using your meditation as a time to visualize, that's an amazing idea that anybody could start implementing. But the point is that you need to find some time, whether that is Vipassana meditation or visualization meditation or prayer meditation, or, maybe even using that meditation time to think about God, meditating on his face, meditating on his appearance and his glory and his magnificence. You could even use the meditation for that. Just finding that quiet time to rest your mind will do wonders for you in the long run, and making that a consistent thing that you try to do every single day. Now, I missed a couple of points back on the diet and fasting point that I had, and I do want to I do need to mention that I don't drink alcohol. I haven't had a drink in almost a year now. I think that once I got saved, and this was like last August that I got saved, I just haven't had a desire to drink alcohol. So I would advise to not drink alcohol on a consistent basis. You might, indulge, on occasion and on a special occasion and things like that. But if you're the type of person that needs a drink every day or a drink every week, like, you don't need that. It's just an indulgence. It's just extra calories. And it's also something that is not good for your body in general. It's kind of like smoking cigarettes. You know, one cigarette's not going to kill you, but it's not exactly great for you either. It's horrible for you. So, you know, just cut it out entirely. You know, not only are you going to benefit your health, but you can save money as well. So stop wasting money on things that have no benefit to you at all, and wait for special occasions. Okay, I understand special occasions like a wedding, or you know, maybe you're celebrating something and you want to have a glass of prosecco, or you know, I don't know, but you know, it's all about balance. And you know, even celibacy, if you want to just cut that completely off or just fast from alcohol in general. I do. I don't drink. I don't need to drink unless, you know, I'm getting married. If I get married one day and have a wedding one day, then I probably will have some wine. um, but anyways, back to the point of dieting. Limit your alcohol or stop drinking alcohol. I don't drink sodas. Okay. I try to avoid sugars at all costs. If it's not benefiting me and if it's not calories towards my, you know, my food diet, I try to avoid sugars at all costs. So I definitely am not drinking any sodas or, you know, Capri Suns or juicy juice or anything like that. Yes, I'll have juice on occasion, but it has to be like 100% natural juice, you know, from the fruit, and no added preservatives or added sugars, things like that. I basically only drink water. And I love, since I'm living in Europe, I love Sprudelwasser, you know, sparkly water, or, you know, just sparkly water. I love sparkly water. You could just drink bottled water if you want. You could drink regular water. I love to have sparkly water. It just makes me feel very hydrated, and it quenches my thirst, and you only really need water in life. I have coffee occasionally. I'm trying to limit that as well. I love coffee, so I'll allow myself to have coffee unless I'm fasting. Then I won't have any coffee because coffee breaks a fast. So I'll have coffee. Sometimes I'll add honey to it. You have your little sugar-free, like sugar tablets that you could put in. I only use like one of those. I typically, with my coffee, I like to have milk or cream. And so I'll use like a healthy version of like milk or cream or whatever to put in my coffee. And, you know, that's my coffee. So you can have those drinks. Just try to avoid sugars. You don't need to have any unnecessary sugars. That adds a lot of calories and fat in your diet. And why even bother? You know, there's healthier ways and alternatives. So now to the most important part and point of this video, the most important tip that I have. And I know I mentioned at the very beginning of the video that, you know, all of these tips are in no particular order, but actually this one should have been number one in the order of importance, because it really lays the foundation for a lifestyle that once you're executing this one, you know, to a T, then I think all of the other things kind of naturally just fall into place. And so that tip is righteous living. Okay. And it's just exactly what it sounds like, you know, even down to just reading your Bible. Okay. So righteous living, involves, you know, reading God's words and following the commandments. Following and listening and living and following the commandments and statutes that are found in God's word. Okay, it's temperance. It's having a balance. It's knowing when and when to not partake in certain things. Okay, this is even talking about like being celibate, being chaste, purity, okay? You know, having integrity and living an honest life. All of those things are going to help you live a righteous lifestyle, okay? When you're living a righteous lifestyle, you're honoring your temple, okay? Because this is not our body, all right? We are only just borrowing, we are borrowing this body as we are living here on earth. This is a temporary home that we are living in. So we're not really just free to do whatever we want to do with it. So once you can honor yourself and honor your body, you know, in the proper ways, then you will start to see that your body will take care of you back, okay? Because sin ages you, okay? That's just an honest truth. Sin ages you. So spiritually speaking, sin opens you up to demonic portals, okay? I'm pretty sure you guys know about that, and we'll get into that in other videos, but sin opens the door to demonic spirits and demonic portals, and that can take a toll on your, you know, your health, and it will definitely show in, you know, your appearance. You know, when someone's living a sinful lifestyle, you can kind of see it on them, right? You can kind of see that they're stressed out, they're tired, you know, they're lethargic, they're depressed, or, you know, they always have some issue, like they're always sick, they're always, you know, they're lazy and things like that. Like that is a sign of some probably not so righteous behaviors that you probably partake in, and you know, on a regular basis. And you know, living in a sinful way can really add years to your appearance. You know, I said that it really can add years to your appearance when you're not taking care of your righteous living. You know, so, and we spoke about the spiritual side a little bit, but naturally speaking, a life of sin takes a toll on you physically. So think fornication, okay, porn sites, masturbation, lust, greed, drugs, okay, like I said, alcohol consumption. All of these behaviors are sin. So at the very least, it's going to lead you down dark roads, you know, in your life, and these are roads that are not righteous. Okay, so a righteous person is sober. A righteous person is chaste, and they understand that, you know, everything is energy. So there's deep consequences of a reckless and loose lifestyle. A wicked person deep down is not happy. Okay, so when you have a righteous person compared to a wicked person and you put them side by side, okay, happiness, real happiness, okay, comes from within, and it shines from within, and it makes you glow. You have a glow, you have an aura about yourself when you're truly happy. Okay, and when you are truly happy and you have that glow about you, you give off the essence and appearance of someone who is youthful. Okay, you know, because you're not fighting guilt or shame or any of those negative emotions that start to creep up on you and start to take over you when you are living in sin. Okay, so those were my tips: exercise, skincare, diet, and fasting, meditation, and most importantly, righteous living. And I hope that you really take that last point into consideration and start to really take that seriously. You know, if you, you know, really go ahead and have faith, you know, in that you have nothing to lose by living righteously, then you can really start to understand what a lot of these benefits feel like. And once you start to see these positive outcomes start happening in your life, like you start looking back at how you used to live when you were worldly, and you just think to yourself, okay, well, why would I even go back down that? You don't even want to go down that path anymore, because it's a waste of energy, it's a waste of time, it's a waste of, you know, virtue, and you want to keep yourself as pure as possible. And when you do those things, when you can do all of these things, you will have a youthful appearance, look, and a happy aura and glow to you. So please let me know what you think. Let me know your comments down below. Does this work for you? And share this video if you have someone that you want to share this with that you think would benefit from it. Have a great rest of your day, your week, your night, your morning, your afternoon, whatever time it is in the world wherever you're at in the world, whatever time it is there. Enjoy and take care, and I will see you real soon. Bye.